Alright, this is a continuation. I'm trying to make the videos a little more focused so you can see what the subject in the video is, and then make them a little shorter. I can't make them, I think there's one company said, could I make these videos 5 minutes? And it's hard to make them 5 minutes for me. I apologize for that. I can try to make them 15. So what we're going to do is put an adjusted minimum or max on the chart. So what we want to do is, in the last video, if you remember, if you didn't watch the video, you don't remember, and if you didn't make it through, it doesn't really matter. We have the actual here, the raw data, and we have this for different categories of things. Now, we might want to put a little minimum on the scale and a maximum. Now, when we do the minimum, I don't want to use the actual minimum here, and when I do the maximum, I don't want to use the X. We want to leave a little space. So what we can do is make a macro, and then when we make a macro, we just record the macro and go to Format, Access, and make this link to a range name. I've done that a few times before. That's a very easy kind of thing to do. The harder thing to do is if it's a percentage of revenues, then we don't want this. We want a very different minimum and maximum, and we don't want to just use a round up or a round down with the same criteria. We might want to use a different criteria. When I say criteria, you can round up to the nearest whole number, round down to the nearest 10, up to the nearest 20, and all this. So this is going to be a video really about using the round function and coming up with a way to make this change kind of flexible. I'm in a horrible place with the noise. Just a minute. Now, some of you might be saying, well, why is this man wasting all this effort on talking about minimums and graphs and all that stuff? Well, I just run into it quite a bit, especially when you make these sorts of graphs where you have different flexible graphs, and sometimes, you know, you really want to show the management kind of, this doesn't look very different. Oh, this is a percentage of energy, so it's going to be the same, but you know, we might want to show a much finer scale here, and we might want to limit the minimum to be kind of this minimum, which has got whatever this is. This is 13,000, so we might want to limit this to 13,000. Okay, so let's see how we'll do this in general. Let's set it up. So we're going to go to a graph data. The first thing we're going to put minimum with NA and max with NA. And our problem here is that we put a minimum, and of course when we select this area, and this happens a lot in these sorts of situations, we get a problem with NA, so we have to make our own new function again. We have to fix Excel for the umpteenth time. Excel at Microsoft, my son says, is, oh, that's Excel, that's the basic. That's like a perfect program. Well, it's not perfect at all, obviously. And then we'll put switch for minimum and max. So we can decide, well, let's apply it or not. Sometimes when I do this whole thing, maybe it won't even look very good. So we might want to just make a little checkbox on our graph and put min, max. Okay, and we'll right click and use our standard Russian method and click on the minimum and maximum. Okay, now to fix this NA, we have to make a little function, and let's see if this can be done in about 5 minutes, or 5 minutes, 2 minutes. We'll put adjusted min function, and we'll just create a thing. And oh, that's interesting how it kind of went down for us anyway. Oh, I put some blanks then. So we put adj function adj min, and just like before, we read in a series, and we say for I equal 1 to series dot count, and we'll put the, if it's the minimum, we're going to make the minimum equal an enormous number. I don't know. I hope that's not going to screw everything up. And then we say if is number, if worksheet function dot is number I'm going slowly now. Oh no, series I. Okay, and I forgot then. I'm getting nervous. And then we put min, and then we put if a series I is less than min, then adjusted min equal series I. I hope I did that right. Next, end if, and we put next I. Okay, that's our function. I put adjusted min here and adjusted min here. Let's see if it works. Probably not. Put equal adj min, and then we select the area. And I think that's the lowest number we have. 3550. I think. Just a minute. Okay, my friend told me in a class once, Napoleon said that dress me slowly because I'm in a hurry. Dress me slowly, I'm in a hurry. Okay? Don't do things too quickly if you're in a real hurry. I should have thought about it a second. We should have adjusted the minimum. And then once we adjusted the minimum here, this is just our minimum, then we find the smallest of all of these, and finally we assign our function to that. And then we can do the same thing, and that fixes it. And we can do the same thing for our adjusted maximum. Okay? But this time, just change this to max, and watch me violate my Napoleon rule. And let's make maximum, and make a really small minus number, and then we say if the series is greater than the maximum. I hope that maybe this, I don't know, I got lucky, I think, because those might be reserved kind of things, those names might be reserved in Excel, but I think I'm going to be okay. So we then put our adj maximum, we select the whole area. And of course, I violated my Napoleon rule again. And we put this in. Everybody should have to watch War and Peace. It was so good, or read it. For me, it's a lot more than just such a good thing. Okay, and so that's our. I think that's correct. That's our maximum. We didn't have any more maximums. Okay, now we're not quite finished. Okay, because now we put our round factor. Okay. Okay, now I didn't really know how to do the next part. This is why, for me, making the videos, I'm learning as I'm going. I went onto the internet and they said if you want to find the amount of kind of digits in a number, you can do this sum product of length. I put a sum product of length with a round, so if I put raw data here, it gives me 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I put gross energy, I've got 6. But there's another formula you can use which is a little better, because the problem with this formula is if I go down and put, let's say, revenues for outage, and I put it as a percentage of revenue, then this one still gives me the wrong length. But I want to know how many have to have a minus sign for if there's less than 1. And if we do this as a percentage of revenue, we get another one, and let's say I put some smaller number in here, then I get kind of a -1 or percentage of revenue -2. So if there were more zeros, this is this log. I would have known how to do this. This log of the number divided by log of 10. I don't even know the mathematics behind that. And then I'm going to round that number up. And then I'm going to make a second adjustment. Here's because when we have a negative number, it's different than a positive number. Whoops, we had nothing there. Okay, if it's a negative number, just a minute. I put a minus. Let's put percent of revenue. Then we get different rounds. But here's let's just show you the final result. Okay, so you can do whatever you want, but this, if we put a round statement, a round down for the minimum and a round up for the maximum, and I have a -4, excuse me for not really explaining it well, but the point is kind of it works, is then you can, this 10 and 20, it's between here. And then let's put as a percentage of revenue, and then it's between 0.1 and 0.2. And then let's say percentage of revenue here, well then it's just 1, but percentage of expense, it's between 1 and 2. So this whole little process, you can see how this kind of works. We're not going to use that, not used. I'll put formula text, you know, they didn't used to have this, and we can kind of see what those numbers are to remember those. And then let's call this adjusted minimum and adjusted maximum. I'm going to name these ranges, and then we're going to put those named ranges. I used Shift Control F3 to make the range names. Oh, I can't do that because a minimum adjusted. I shouldn't have shown you that mistake. Maximum. I'm sitting near elevator, that's why you're hearing dingings. I better press Control F3. Let's delete those named ranges. Hopefully we'll get back to where we were. Okay, and now we can name these ranges, okay, with the right column. I did that on purpose, you know. I wanted to show you what not to do. So when I make mistakes, instead of swearing from now on, I'm just going to say, I just wanted you to show you what not to do. And then all we do is we finally go to our graph, and on our graph we click this. But before we click this, I have my thing. I press Shift Control M from the generic macro. So let's just simply record a macro. This stupid hotel. It's a nice hotel, but I have this really loud printer if you hear it in the background. And then we'll just right click on this and go to Format Access and just put a minimum. Let's just make the minimum equal 1 and the maximum equal 3. We're just doing that. And then all we do is stop the macro, and then we just look in that macro, and in the macro we find where I called it macro 1. Let's edit that. Okay, people are having loud, oh, that's the hotel management. They have very loud feet. Okay, and then we put the set scale. How about that? I'm going to rename it that one. Okay. And then it says set the, and then for this minimum, we put, remember it was minimum adjusted, range, min, with a double inverted comma, of course, min adjusted. And then we put range maximum adjusted. Okay. And I don't know if we really need this one. I'm going to delete this. How about this? I'll temporarily delete this. So now what we do is just attach this, assign this macro, and we put set the scale. Okay, and let's try to get another thing. Okay. This was not very good, but okay. Shoot. Let's do a raw data. Why did the, oh, in the raw data we'd also have to assign the same macro. Okay. And I'm sure I'm going to have to switch the video off. But now we can, I think it's kind of, okay, sorry about the noise. We're just letting people in. Very nice people get in and out. And stop the macro for a minute. This video is getting a little bit long. I apologize for that. We're going to do two things. We're going to fix it so we can kind of adjust the scale a little better, and I think this does it. Let's put another option in the scale. Let's make another macro, and this one is going to be reset the scale. When we reset the scale, now let's go to Format Access and put reset for both of these. Okay, and then all we'll do is go back to our graph, and I was just afraid of this blowing up on bed. Let's make this one called reset. Okay, maybe I'll make it go this way. Oof, that didn't work very well, did it? Let's move this over here, maybe. And we have a little true false for the reset, and we'll just kind of adjust our little macro. So if it's a reset, then we'll adjust it. So down up here where we have set scale, we'll put if range. There are people coming. I've got to stop the video. Okay, that range name wasn't very good. I switched it off. So if it's true, then we just do whatever we would. Otherwise, we go down here and reset the scale. So now we can just right click and just copy that to our graph, and we can do a couple of things. I think I'm going to have to change the name on this, but I could attach this to the come on, why don't I just assign the macro to the reset scale, and then so if we click this on and off, it didn't. I see. Well, I should have done something else. So now if we, sorry, just a minute. I'm gonna finish this in just a sec. Okay, I made one more adjustment. I made an adjustment for setting the scale type. So we can reset the scale now to a standard scale or adjusted scale with minimums and maximums, and we can also adjust the scale type and kind of have a minimum or maximum scale there. And to do that, I used this in this round. If you can either put a simple round or round it up and down, and notice when you do that, it changes the minimum and maximum. I'm not even able to explain the kind of mathematics underneath that, but it just kind of, I think it kind of works. Okay, so we can do this. Let's just try one more other thing. You know, what I'm doing is something silly when I kind of do these things. I love to kind of just play with the stupid buttons and waste your time on that, but this one didn't change, the scale type didn't change, you know. And then if we, let's try percentage of energy, so we can reset the scale now. So that scale didn't work, so we had to set it to 0, I guess. I don't know. Okay, I think that's, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Le mieux est l'ennemi de la bien. Le bien, le bien, le bien. Okay, let's stop this video now. It's long enough.